Namaskaram and welcome to Beyond the Bindis Hindu Women's Festival 2021. My name's Harsha and I'm a risk consultant from London. Today we'll be exploring depictions of femininity in southern India. With us today, I'm really glad to introduce Neelima Cheerla. She originally Hi. She originally hails from Andhra Pradesh and she currently resides in Liverpool. She's worked in the UK Telugu Hindu organization, otherwise known as UTHO, for the last 3 years. And she currently works as a financial crime analyst. So thank you very much, Neelima Ji, for being with us today. Glad to have you on.
Thank you, Harsha Ji.
Yeah, no, it's been great because I think we had a conversation a couple of days ago just to get your thoughts on what you believe the depictions of femininity is within southern India, in India in general, and just growing up and through your experiences. And I know you have a lot to share with me. So just get straight into it. So firstly, I want to explore with you how you think Hindu femininity is distinct from what we call Western feminism today. I mean, what makes it different? I remember you bringing up in a conversation that the notion of motherland. So I really want to get stuck into that.
Yes, definitely. Before I start, namaste once again, Harsha Ji, and I would like to, say namaste to everybody on behalf of UTHO. It's a pleasure to be a part of Hindu Women's Festival, Beyond the Bindi, of course, a great concept to carry on and to take over towards the femininity and the womanhood. Yes, of course, it highlights a fact and it actually attracted me, for that matter, a great interest for me to get a notion of motherland towards the femininity and the womanhood. When we think of it's like one's country is always termed as motherland, never as fatherland, that we all know, and it's a pride moment to consider the fact. In recognition of the fact that the land will live and nurture us lovingly as our own mother. Indians often worship India as a Bharat Mata. We say, Janani Janmabhumicha Sargadapi Gariyasi. It's said that one's mother and motherland are superior to heaven, and it would be a face statement over here, for me to quote, that to make all that to happen in an organized way, the global religions in the world today, women perhaps have the most visible and prominent presence in Hindu Dharma. And as I've already said, it's a pride moment, and it's a proud as a woman from the Bharat have got, that impact and that significance all over. Can I just say or name it maybe, with all this concluding that a gift of Hindus to the world, let me tell you here, Harsha Ji, and to everybody, for that matter, Hinduism, is only one major religion that worship God also as a woman. All other major faiths look God as a fatherly figure only. So that is a major difference over here, coaching on the motherland, coaching on the fact from the Hindu Dharma, the cultural point of view in that. So basically in Hindu Dharma, wisdom, knowledge, prosperity, power, etc. are represented symbolically by feminine Hindu deities. It is not surprising that words denoting the feminine power of God, such as Shakti or Kali, so all these are the feminine power of the goddesses, so all have become a part of the new age vocabulary because there is a deficiency of such terms nowadays in other organized religions for that matter. So that is what is actually carrying a huge influential positive factor towards the Hindu Dharma, towards that motherland. Very interestingly, I don't know if you've heard or not, very interestingly, there is even a perfume which is launched by the name Kali, the name, the goddess. I'm not sure if you all have tried or not, but yes, it is there. So it does mean that, women can be a good Hindu and also a feminist at the same time. So those are the qualities the women usually carry with her. So femininity on today's term, sorry, over to you, Harsha Ji, if you have got.
No, please carry on. I mean, just let's keep diving further. I mean, what were you just about to say?
Okay, right, yeah. So, this is more of towards the culture, towards the Hindu dharma, and towards the motherland perspective. But we actually talk out on today's generation. Femininity is associated with, of course, the independency, the outspoken, the compassion, the compatibility, and being kind, being multitasker, more of a balancing factor that the women carry. The womanhood would actually carry with her. And during the research, one of the research, it has revealed that the femininity has evolved over the decades. So just to give you a little stats from last 50 years and how this transition has actually happened. So
Sure.
The stat shows that 53% of the people said to be feminine meant to be a good mother and caring, while 41% of the people considered being delicate and sweet and essential part of being a woman. So these qualities have not actually come to the women, all of a sudden. So this is a long journey from the time a baby is born till she, takes over a little, 5-6 years age, and then to the teenage, and then in her 20s, then she gets married. And so all this is a long journey where woman is experiencing so many features of around, and she becomes a wholesome personality by carrying all the qualities of being a good mother, caring, kind, a multitasker, and to become a complete woman. However, today, women are striving to show the compassion and kindness, be good with friends, and promote other females in the workplace, of course. It's more of equality between the men and the women. It's not, nobody is like higher or lower, or nobody is, big or small. It's more of working together in the balanced environment to make the life, successful, happy, and the peace, and to reach to the objectives that they want to work together. Is a great positive change. So this transition, which is, very remarkable on the womanhood. And I personally feel, and I'm sure all the women sitting out here, and I'm sure when you're listening, what I'm trying to dictate over here, you would feel that there's something to celebrate for us. And probably, this thing as a woman, Hindu Women's Festival, and something which actually started a platform to exchange these thoughts within each other, basically.
No, definitely. I mean, even just the idea of femininity and how you talked about, it needs to come together, and there's with what we call masculinity as well today.
Yes.
And they both are on equal footing, because both are just as important.
Absolutely.
When it comes to having
yeah.
a holistic and more, a peaceful world. But I think we can go beyond peaceful and say a progressive world. It needs both to kind of balance out and bring the best out of each other. So,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. We talk about teamwork, in the organizations, and, we teach that to our kids. So it's basically a teamwork in between a husband and a wife because life is a big journey. So when you share the responsibilities, it has got, nice warmth and the charm that somebody can experience.
Absolutely. And, just want to move a bit further, probably just something a bit more closer to home. So in terms of culture and looking at your upbringing, I mean, just for our audience, we just mentioned that Neelima ji is from Andhra Pradesh, and that's in southern India, for those who didn't know. So
yes.
From your experience being someone who's born in southern India, how has that shaped your experience? And from what you know growing up and what you've gone through, how do you think that's different across different parts of India?
See, my experience, I'm like born and brought up in North, and actually in my like teenage time, I've actually moved to the south of India, the Andhra Pradesh, and that is my roots. Yes, my roots are from the Andhra Pradesh. Of course, during the childhood, in summer vacation, we used to visit our grandparents' home. So we all have always, cherished those moments, experienced those moments, being the part from the Andhra Pradesh. But yes, I have taken that an opportunity to see, how the femininity has gone in the north side of Bharat and in the south side of Bharat, because I used to be definitely, when I was living in north, then obviously I had to come in contact with the people from there. So, and then going and experiencing, with the grandparents, with aunts and uncles, that gave me an opportunity to experience, that lifestyle, that way of, living over there. So basically, when I spoke about the changes in the first element over here, that, the changes, the transition hasn't happened suddenly. It has actually taken its sweet time to adapt the changes, to get into the wholesome of that. So the changes have been, eventual changes have been significant from the last, say, 50 years, or for that matter, 100 years. But yes, at current situation, it is working in a very appropriate and a convenient way. So if I had to depict the differences on women from South India to the North, I must say it's very different in culture. The language is different. There is different in socio-economic development, but the most dramatic regional disparity may be the gender relations.
Gender relations.
That's how, gender relations. So in the current century, it is more or less same. However, just to share a vision from the past, how the things were, what I have personally experienced. When we say the south of India and the northeastern, it's more or less, the same way. The routine is same, the schedule, the way of life is more or less the same. So they survive infancy. They like to be educated, always standing out, had an opportunity of marrying later, freedom to choose their own husbands and own more assets, exercise more control over their dowry. So these are a few examples that I'm highlighting over here. Socializing with the friends, work alongside with men, etc. So these were the factors which were already stood in the South. I have seen when I was a child, I have seen that my grandmom was already working, my aunts were already working, they were teachers. So there was an awareness of girl education from before.
Right.
There was those rights, they have that equality, they had the rights which they could cherish or they could experience from them. However, my experience when I was in North, I actually personally seen that most of the ladies were more bound into the household chores, housewives. Yes, of course, that is something to respect. However, if you're educated also, once you're married, probably you're limited to be within those four boundaries. And your knowledge, you are actually sharing only to the kids, getting them educated, getting their homeworks done. And, however, you're more looked after yourself to be looking after your house. That is itself is a very busy routine for the ladies, for that matter. But such type of, North and Northwest, like it's much more constrained, more limitations on their choices. For example, or the girls were probably, meant to study only till the secondary school education, less likely to choose their partners or the husbands. It was more of, a limited, not able to share their thoughts, not able to, voicing out their opinions. So those restrictions were there. Now also, I think when you compare the South and the North, there were a few places which would have these limitations still available. However, I must say it hasn't been like this in the current situation. Now there is more of an importance on the female education, improvement on the education system, more skilled women to gain economic autonomy is standing out. The women are expanding their networks because we've seen, women are flying this to the sky, and women are standing in the politics. There are so many good examples that we are all aware. So women are nowhere less. However, so that is the beautiful transition which has taken place, and the ladies are standing out on their feet. It's like they're keeping their heels high and shoulders up, head high, and they are at par in taking any responsibility given to them, and become valued as providers, support elderly parents, all these things which were not there. But yes, it's happening at the moment. And in terms of difference between South and North, yes, this is the difference which when I was a child, I had experienced. However, these things are overtaking. I would not say it is still the same, but yes, there is a positive change.
So yeah, no, just touching on that, just to summarize. So what you'd say is, whilst there was some obvious differences, whilst there was some,
Yeah.
polarity before, now kind of converging together where they're both on equal footing, a more equal plane, and a lot of
Yes,
progress in the last 50 years. A lot of progress.
there is indeed. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just diving into experience more. I remember you mentioning to me that you had um, a couple of experiences from childhood, or just ideas that were really embedded within you growing up. So if you could just take us through that, that'd be really great.
Yes. See, for example, when I remembered in my school days, I think year 10 or so, I happened to visit my friend, and I could just see her mom has come out, but she had got like the ghungat, the sari, which is actually put on the head. So that's a tradition, that's a culture. And I could see that she is not she is unable to voice out her thoughts, and it was a restriction over there that she could not stand when there's a family, all family members sitting, being a part of that. So her job was like, okay, serve the tea, get the biscuits or get the snacks or something like that. However, she never had that opportunity to say sit next to the husband and have that privilege of being a wife over there, because they just felt that's a custom, and the role of a woman is just even if she's educated, you just once you're married, it just got changed and you're just standing like that as a member of the family. However, in the society, you cannot showcase yourself at the important part, or being a respectable position, because you just have to listen to the instructions given at home. You have to carry that ghungat on your head always. You may not, probably you want to showcase yourself wearing, dressing up very nicely and probably showcase yourself in a very confident way. But, that routine or that culture has gone from the mindset of that female, that you would carry that system of draping the sari in that way, in a way that has been inherited, from the ancestor. So that has actually stuck to my mind. Yes, she is educated, she is coming out to the part of the family. However, she is not able to voice out her opinions in the group of the family members. When they're discussing something, she cannot sit next to her husband. Her job is to probably just, stand and few things like that. However, I have not experienced this in the south of India. I have seen, my close aunts and uncles, like, they had that respect, or their position was very clear that, yes, you have got the right to involve in the family decisions. You've got a right to sit, if the family is sitting together. There was no control on having that the ghungat on the head. There is a different way of draping your sari over there. So that has actually stuck in my mind, why there is a difference. India, from top to, we say from Jammu to Kanyakumari, it's like
Yeah.
whole India, it's a whole Bharat. Why so much like differences in the culture. So that has actually made me think on it over here. So I think this has basically come from the foreign system which was there ancestrally. So that impose has been in the north, and that has actually made them to continue that particular system, having that culture to be continued in their way of living. However, when it is a part of the south, it's more of a standing on their rights, and asking for the more education for the girls, and making them aware that what are your rights in the society, making sure that you are standing on your feet, pursue more education, given the choices of choosing your husband and all these things. So as I said, yes, these things were stuck in my mind. There may be definitely few areas which are still following or continuing in the exact way. That's where we need to, try and get that change wherever it's possible, coming into our level of an understanding. But yes, that has just stayed in such a way, which made me think, I have seen that family, I'm seeing this family, why there is a difference, it's a husband, wife, there are kids, but why the woman has not been given that importance, why there is so much of a difference. But that's how it's a culture. It is an acceptance which is not meant to be wrong, but yes, this is something to look forward and to bring the positive change, which I'm sure eventually it is changing. There are changes which are coming. There's too much of an optimistic, factor around, and yes, it would change.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty amazing seeing that stark difference
Yeah.
between both experiences in the same country, but just being in another part, you just feel like the culture is regressed in a sense, because
yeah, yes, it is interesting. It is interesting to know, and we must appreciate, or we must respect, they have been adhering to the process, to that discipline.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, just hearing about how in your experiences, at least, how when you were back in the southern part, you saw how we were not even uplifted, but they were in charge, sort of. They were kind of, it was a bit patriarchal in that sense, they were empowered, and I know speaking from experience, like my grandmother, she was the one that kind of set the standard for how the family should be run. So definitely I can relate to you on that part. I feel like if we just kept speaking, we could go on for a good couple hours speaking about
a good couple of years. Yeah, I can actually quote ample of examples.
No, definitely. But Neelima ji, it's been so great to hear from you. I think I've definitely learned something from listening to you, and I hope everyone listening to us in the Hindu Women's Festival 2021 has definitely taken something on board from that. So again, thank you so much, Neelima ji. Really appreciate it. For the rest of you, there are many great sessions in Beyond the Bindis Hindu Women's Festival. There's many great ones to come. So please do tune in for those as well. Otherwise, I want to say namaskaram and thank you so much for being with us today.
Namaste, Harsha ji. Namaste, Beyond the Bindi team. Namaste.